Here with the Chatham Journal. I've got Asheebo Rojas of the Chatham News and Record. We're getting close to the end of the tournament season here. What we got coming up today, as every week on the roundup, Asheebo's going to go out and talk to you about the items that are coming up in the Chatham News and Record newspaper that he's got out there. We're also going to talk about last week's scores and results. He's going to cover baseball, softball, soccer, lacrosse, and track. Talk about state playoffs, who's still in, who is out. The fields are getting thinner. Athlete of the week, and then we'll talk about where Asheebo and I will be going over the next 7 days. So let me just take this off, and we'll get Asheebo kicking off. This is going to be primarily all Asheebo all the time. And let's hide it. Come on. There we go. All right, Asheebo, it's all yours.
All right, so starting with just the stories we have coming out in the paper tomorrow for the Chatham News and Record. We'll have more in-depth details from C4's first playoff win and a little bit from their next two games in the state playoffs from the second and third rounds. And then we'll also have signing days. We have 5 Chatham County athletes signed to college athletic programs. We had Kelsey Hussey from Chatham Central Volleyball signing to Pfeiffer to play volleyball in-state here in North Carolina. And then we have Anthony Lapasse from Chatham Central Baseball signing to play with Cleveland Community College Baseball. And then we have Anders Johansson from Seaford Baseball going to Barton College. And then we have Ace Weissenberger, also from Seaford on the football team, going to play football at Ohio Northern. And then Josh Miller, probably the biggest signing of the week from Seaford Wrestling, is signing to NC State to wrestle with, their top wrestling program in the country. So congrats to all those Chatham County athletes, and we'll also have more to come as the spring sports seasons come to a close here. And then we also have a story from Seaford Soccer's first round game against Granville Central. Happened this past week on Monday. Happened on Monday, and that one we talk about that one a little later. Seaford complete domination in that one with the 12-0 win. And then we also have briefs on Drake Powell, his performance in the Josh Lovell Classic, 12 points there. And, well-rounded game for him to end his showcase season before he goes to UNC early in June. And then Coach Mitch Johnson, former head coach at Northwood Football, he just got hired by Green Hope, a 4A program in Cary. So we have a little bit of details on that. And, of course, our sports roundup that we have every week. And then, just going into the roundup, because we had a lot of big things happening this past week, all the way up to this Tuesday. We had state champions crowned, starting with the boys golf team, the Seaford boys golf team, winning the 2A state title at Stonebridge Golf Club in Monroe yesterday. And in that one, the Hawks, they had tied with Pine Lake Prep at the end of the second round because both teams had scored 534. So they had to go into a playoff round, and then I think on the second hole, or on playoff round hole 2, Seaford clinched the win. And also sophomore Ty Willoughby, he won the individual state title with a score of 135. He shot 67 in the first round, 68 in the second round. And then junior Griffin Ching, he finished in third place in the state tournament with a score of 142. And then we also had JT DeLoach from Seaford. He joined Matthew Ute from Highland Prep in receiving the North Carolina Farm Bureau Sportsmanship Award. So plenty of big things happening for Seaford's boys golf team this week in the state tournament. Congrats to them on their first state title. I know that I think they finished as runner-ups in last year's tournament. So they get the job done this year. And then starting with baseball, we had one baseball team left this week here in the third round. Number 7 Seaford, they played number 2 Whiteville last night, and unfortunately they lost 6-1. Going out there to Whiteville. But before that loss, in the second and third rounds, they had the 3-2 win over 26 seed Wallace Rose Hill in the first round that we talked about a little bit last week, and then they lost to number 23 West Craven 4-1 in the second round. I mean, they beat West Craven 4-1 in the second round. I'm sorry, and other teams, how they did in the state tournament this past week. We had number 25 Northwood, number 29 Jordan Matthews, and number 26 Chatham Central, who was in the 1A side. They all lost in the first round of the playoffs. Northwood, they lost to number 8 Bunn in 10 innings, 4-3 in a close one. Jordan Matthews lost to 4 seed Midway 5-0, and Chatham Central lost to number 7 Roxborough Community 3-2. And then we had number 6 Chatham Charter also on the 1A side. They got upset in the second round of the 1A bracket by number 22 Southside 1-0. So fortunately here in Chatham County, baseball season is over, but we had a really great season with Seaforth, making it to the third round in their first playoff run. And then in softball, we also have one team left who's playing tonight. We have Jordan Matthews playing at Roanoke Rapids for their third round game. But before tonight, Jordan Matthews, they beat number 26 East Carteret 6-1 in the first round. And in the second round, they were down 3-1 to North Johnston in the 6th inning, but they came back and won that game 4-3 in that one. And then in the 1A side, we had number 6 Chatham Central. Their season ended after the 13-3 loss to number 11 Roxborough Community in the second round. So a tough loss for them. We expect them to go a lot further, but they ran into a really tough team there in the second round. And then number 8 Chatham Charter, they also lost in the second round to number 9 East Columbus last week in the playoffs. So, like I said, we have Jordan Matthews playing tonight to see if they'll move on to next week to the fourth round. As like Gene said, the playoff field is getting really thin here towards the end of the season. And just run through boys tennis as well, because we had some action in their playoff brackets. We didn't have any county state singles and doubles qualifiers win state titles over the weekend, and all of our dual teams did get knocked out of the playoffs. In the 1A dual team bracket, we had number 4 Chatham Central falling to number 1 Triangle Math and Science in the fourth round 6-0, and then number 7 Chatham Charter, they also lost to number 3 Eno River in the fourth round 5-1. Then on the 2A side, we had number 6 Seaforth losing to number 14 Research Triangle in the third round 5-1 as well. And then, as far as lacrosse, we had after last week, all our lacrosse teams have been knocked out of the playoffs here in Chatham County. Last week we had number 10 the Northwood boys losing to number 2 Croatan for the second time this season in the third round 14-8. And then Seaforth girls, who were an 8 seed, lost to number 1 Union Pines 17-2 in the third round as well. And then the Northwood girls, the number 4 seed, they lost to number 5 Swansboro 10-7 in the third round. Now, had those two teams won, Seaforth and Northwood girls, we would have saw a battle of Pittsburgh for the 1A, 2A, 3A East semifinal, but unfortunately, both teams getting knocked out. We didn't get to see that. But we got some good girls soccer action from the county on Monday. We talked a little bit about Seaforth beating Granville Central 12-0. And in that one, we had 2 soccer players, Sophia Viana and Caitlin Ehrman, getting their single game goals records, scoring 6 goals each. And both of them, I think their records were 5. So getting 6 broke, set a new record for them. And then in the 1A bracket, we had Woods Charter. They beat down Henderson Collegiate 17-0 as well. Just a lot of blowouts, unfortunately, in the first round. Some in the Chatham County schools' direction, and some didn't go in their favor. Like for number 9 Chatham Charter, also in the 1A bracket, they lost to number 4 Hopton 12-0. And then back on the 2A side, we had number 14 Northwood beating Camden County 3-0, and Jordan Matthews, 28 seed, losing to the 5 seed East Duplin 5-2. So just a heads up on where our girls soccer teams are playing in the second rounds tomorrow. We'll have number 2 Woods Charter versus number 18 Northmore in the second round tomorrow at 6 p.m. And that game will be at Woods Charter because they're the higher seed. We'll have number 4 Seaforth hosting number 20 Bedingfield tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then number 14 Northwood will travel to number 3 Roanoke Rapids tomorrow at 6:30. So those are your girls soccer second round matchups for tomorrow night. And then in track, we also had the regional meets last week that went on and qualified some of our Chatham County athletes for the state track and field meets. In the 1A Mid-East Regional, we had Woods Charter. We had the Woods Charter boys finishing 3rd. Chatham Charter's boys finished 7th, and Chatham Central's boys finished 14th in the team results. Then the girls' results, we had Chatham Charter finishing 5th, Woods Charter at 6, and Chatham Central at 12. And then in 2A, we had, for the boys, we had Seaforth finishing 1st, and then Northwood tied for 14th place with Bunn. And then Jordan Matthews finished 17th in the team results. And for the girls' side, Seaforth at 3rd, Northwood finished 5th, and Jordan Matthews came in 8th place for the girls' results. And so, I mean, I'll be looking to go to the state playoffs, the state meet Friday and Saturday. We'll have 1A on Friday and 2A, I think it's on Saturday, and just a couple of names that I'm looking at to possibly win state championships. For 1A, Lucas Smith, he could very likely win state in the 100 and 200 and possibly the 400. And 2A, there's plenty of names. We got Laney Babbo and Claire Morgan from Northwood and Seaforth, respectively, battling out for the pole vault state championship there on the girls' side. And then Jack Anstrom also looking to be a strong candidate for a state champion in the 1,600-meter run and 3,200-meter runs. Will Quickie also right up there for the 800-meter run. And then we could also see some possibly some other state champions, depending on what the results look like over the weekend. So just keep an eye out for those big names as we will likely get to name more state champions here in Chatham County.
Hey, Asheebo, let me ask you before we go on with the other stuff. Actually, what are you going to tackle next? Because I want to get your feel as to how this spring sports season went. What are some of your favorite memories? What are some of the things? I mean, you've had unique athletes of the week from all the different sports, and we're not the biggest county. We're 1A, 2A schools, but overall, it seems that the schools and the individual athletes have performed well this spring. What are your thoughts on everything?
Yeah, we've had a lot of really good individual performances, team performances as well. I think some individuals I want to highlight too. Aiden Allred. I've been receiving messages about his stats and where he finished for the baseball season. Final numbers. I think his batting average of 612 was third in 1A, number 3 in North Carolina, and number 82 in the U.S. 7 home runs, was first in 1A, 8 in North Carolina. Also, plenty of other stats he had that were just up there in the state and in his classification. We also had Maddie Kazmierczak having a great season as a freshman on the mound for Chatham Central. But I think team-wise, Seaforth's baseball run was very impressive. They were a really young team, first playoff berth, and come in there as a 7 seed, win some tough games, especially that first one against Wallace Rose Hill, where they had to, were struggling at the plate, but the defense stepped up. They had to really grind that one out, and then also
they won that one by just 1 point. Did they? It was like 3-2.
Yep, that one ended on a hit by pitch. Dane O'Neill got hit by a pitch that brought in Daniel White there for the walk-off run. But also, too, I think Seaforth girls soccer, I think their domination just in the conference was really remarkable, and Woods Charter as well for girls soccer. So I'm really interested to see where those two, how far they can go in their playoff brackets in the 1A and 2A side.
Yeah, and I think on going to the Seaforth soccer girls soccer team, when they played against Woods this year, this was the first time they beat Woods was this year. So 2 tough teams. Again, they're playing tomorrow. Woods is playing at Woods. Seaforth's playing at Seaforth. And you and I talked about this before we started. We're probably Asheebo will probably be at the Woods game. I'll probably run over to Woods at first and then run over to Seaforth just to see if I think both teams should win that game, and we'll probably see them playing again. Both teams should be playing again, I think, next Monday if they win tonight. So, women's soccer is looking good here in Chatham County. Yeah,
for sure. And like I said, we'll have plenty of state champions. And Seaforth, I mean, they're really, I think, way far ahead in the Wells Fargo Cup standings for being the best athletic program this year for 2A. So, I mean, they've had a really good year, and I mean, they will probably pick up some more state championships with the track and field championships this weekend. So, I think spring, it's a lot going on in spring. A lot of different sports, from baseball, softball, track, down to lacrosse as well. And I think for Chatham County, they should be really proud. All the teams should be really proud of what they did this year, and not just in the spring, but also from winter sports and fall sports as well. So, yeah, like Gene, it's like I say, it's been a fun ride this year.
Yeah, if we touch on lacrosse, both the girls and the boys, the girls, Northwood had some, was it some prime players? I think, what's your name, is like number 5, somewhere in the top 5 or top 10 among scorers in 2A. Showing a blank on the name. And then on the boys team, they managed to go up against Croatan, even though it's not the same team they had last year. So that's been real good. And on softball, there was good stuff going on softball as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, like I said, but Chatham Central, they were almost like, well, not as young as Seaforth, but they had some young players in some big spots, like at pitcher with Maddie Kasmerchick. Also, some really good defensive players as well, and put together a really good season. Jordan Matthews, who's still fighting tonight in the third round, had a really good season. And I think, I don't know. I think, it's just really a successful year, like I said, for those teams.
All right. What were some of your two or three of your favorite memories from the spring sports season here in Chatham County?
2 or 3 favorite memories. Let's see. It's going to be hard. I think just from recent memory, I think one of the best ones was probably seeing Sophia and Caitlin get the 6 goals each. I think that was pretty cool. I mean, I know the competition they played in the first round wasn't as good as they've seen throughout the year, but I mean, in any soccer game to get 6 goals each, I think that's pretty impressive. And Coach Viana was talking about it after the game. I mean, the whole team, they just play really well, and they just really gel together. They know exactly where they're going to be on the field. They're really selfish. Like, you even see Sophia, as many goals as she scored this season, and she's also up there in the leaderboards in her classification and in the state. I mean, she doesn't hesitate to pass it off to teammates and look for them as well. So I think that one for earlier, I think one of the best games I went to for baseball this year was when Chatham Central went to Seaforth earlier in the year and beat them. I think it was the second game in their series. And in that one, I think they came in Chatham Central. It was a pitcher's game really between Anthony Lapase and I think it was Johansson on the mound for Seaforth. I don't really remember exactly who was on the mound for Seaforth. No, Jaden Rader. I think Jaden Rader was on the mound for that game, and those two were just dueling it out and for a really, really classic game, I think, this year. And then also too, I'm trying to think some other big moments from this year, spring. What else we had? We had softball.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I'm just going to say, you mentioned that baseball game. I was there with Chatham Central and Seaforth. And even though Seaforth's only been in existence 3 years, a lot of those kids in this county have played against each other in rec league ball. So they've gone up against each other and know each other. And you're right, that was a fun game to watch. So
yeah, I'm gonna say it's really hard because it's so many things we went to this season, and I'm trying to remember all the best moments of it. And I'm sure we're gonna get some more when I go down to the track state championships and see that. But I'm trying to think. I mean, I think the girls soccer game between Woods and Seaforth was a good game too, just because it was much anticipated and kind of. I wouldn't say not the unexpected result, but I didn't expect Seaforth to come out and play as well as they did. And 4-0, they played really good defense against a Woods Charter team that plays really good defense and prides himself on that. I think that was a great moment. One of the better games I went to this season as well. Also to the Unified Day that Seaforth hosted. Was another good one, and also the Special Olympics cheerleading competitions, just some other things outside of high school sports that we had going on. We really had a lot of fun this spring season.
Well, I know people in the county enjoy having you as the sports writer here in the county. And as I mentioned last week, my favorite story still is the grandma who wanted to find that video of you talking to her grandson, and she didn't know where to find it. I'm like, hey, you just need to have him find it for you on Twitter, because I don't think she even really knew what Twitter was. But you're getting that information out there. I know you've grown your account, and for folks that aren't aware, that account is on Twitter, Asheebo R38. So you need to stay up on that. You're just going to have to remember another sports moment for next week. Folks, we're probably going to have that one on Thursday next week. I've got things to do on Wednesday, but we still haven't hit who is this week's athlete of the week.
Yeah, we kind of already mentioned her a little bit, but it's going to be Caitlin Erman, the junior from Seaforth girls soccer team. Once again, in that 12-0 win over Granville Central, she scored a career high 6 goals, which all came in the first half. And that one, all those goals came in the first half for Seaforth. And I think I chose her as athlete of the week just because I think it's remarkable. She hasn't had 5 goals in the game since her freshman year, and then to come out the junior year, break it so easily. I mean, we watched Caitlin. She's just really fast and able to get down the field and get open. And her teammates always find a way to get her the ball when she gets down there and gets free in the open field. So she did that a couple times on Monday night and put 6 goals in the back of the net, and played really well for Seaforth, who's really rolling here in the playoffs, and we'll see what they do tomorrow.
Yeah, and adding to that, I know they won that game 12-0, but both you and I were at that game. And I will say, and we actually made the comment to each other, the goalie on the opposing team was actually a pretty good goalie. She did a nice job stopping what she could. But as you said, Seaforth was just playing a complete game. They had everything under control. And I did not have an opportunity to count shots, but I know that goalie got a lot of shots taken at her that the Seaforth goalie didn't even have to worry about. So, shout out to the opposing goalies, both on. It was the same thing in the Woods game as well. Their goalie was good, but both Chatham County teams were on that evening, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. I've got a feeling, and don't make predictions, but I've got a feeling that both teams should come out of it, and we'll see them playing again next week. Anything else we need to close up with here?
Nope. I think we got everything settled. Also, too, just for people who want to know and would like to go to the track and field state championships this weekend, they will be at North Carolina A&T as for the venue. And once again, 1A are running on Friday, and 2A is running on Saturday. So if you want to follow your teams, 1A, Chatham Central, Chatham Charter, Woods Charter will have athletes, and then 2A will also have athletes from Jordan Matthews, Northwood, and Seaforth competing for state titles for track and field.
Yeah, make sure you pick up the paper, because Asheebo's got all that information on track and field. And just like in the other sports, track and field, there are individuals and teams that are doing well this year. Again, we're not the largest size county when it comes to population, but our kids play hard here in Chatham County. So, players, fans, parents, friends, and family members of the players, hey, we're really proud of what your favorite players are doing out there. Anything else before we finish up here, Asheebo?
Nope. I think that's everything. Like you said,
all right, everyone. Yep. Thanks for watching. As always, we appreciate it. We will be back next Thursday. We will not be on next Wednesday. And then Asheebo, the last thing is, apparently the paper is now going to be coming out on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. Is that correct?
Yes, paper will be coming out on Thursdays from starting this week.
All right. So, folks, don't look for the paper today. It will be out tomorrow. All right. That's all. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And again, Asheebo Rojas is on Twitter at Asheebo R38. Go ahead and follow him.